Welcome back to another episode of VOLTalk. Today we have an awesome guest, Luther Allison. Thank you so much for being on. So go ahead and tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, my name's Luther Allison, as she mentioned, and I'm a senior here at University of Tennessee, born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm studying music performance here, drums and piano.
Oh, awesome. So he was actually a guest on the show last year. What have you been working on since then?
Homework.
A lot of
Since
homework.
then, yeah. Just trying to get everything squared away for graduate school. Just got accepted into Michigan State.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, they offered me
Congratulations.
thank you. They offered me a full ride and a teaching assistantship also. So I'm just trying to get all the paperwork cleared up for that and everything else. So that's most of it. And also, of course, music stuff. I've been performing with a few groups around Knoxville and also doing some solo piano stuff here and there. I play at Red Piano Lounge every other Friday. I'm playing there tomorrow.
Awesome.
So yeah, just trying to get some stuff squared away for the future.
Which bands have you worked with before?
In Knoxville, one of the main groups that I played with is a group called Poesis. I want to say it's the Greek word or the Latin word for becoming. I can't remember. Don't quote me on it.
It's one of them.
Yeah, but it's a group composed of myself and 4 or 5 other friends of mine who are all music majors at UT, and we played for a lot of different events around campus. Another group I played with is the Marble City 5, which is a few of the professors here on campus and a few other guys around Knoxville. And we play at Red Piano Lounge every Wednesday. Those are some of the main ones. A lot of other groups I play with are just kind of on call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. So I know you mentioned getting into grad school earlier. What are you planning to do with your degree? Are you looking more towards the performance aspect or the student teaching like you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the student teaching, since that's something that's that I'm very interested in pursuing in the future. I'm very interested in pursuing teaching at hopefully a university, a conservatory, or whatever it may be. And so I think that's going to be a really it's going to reveal a lot to myself about me in those sorts of teaching situations. So I'm excited to take that on.
Awesome. Has there been a teacher in your life, music-wise or academic-wise, that kind of shaped you as a person and led you to music?
Yes, I would say the first person that comes to my mind is a teacher named Pepe Calvar.
Pepe. It has to be a good teacher with the name Pepe.
Jose Pepe Calvar is his name, and he was my choir director when I was in, I want to say my junior and senior year of high school, and he probably had the most profound impact on my life musically out of anybody, because with him you could tell it was so much more than just the music. So yeah, that's all. I could go on for days about him, but I'll keep it short and say Pepe Calvar has probably had the biggest impact on my life musically.
That's awesome. And you said that you're a senior, you've been working on a ton of homework. How do
Yeah.
you find that healthy balance of the academics of school while also trying to hone into your creative spirit while creating music? What's the the healthy balance with
That's
that?
a really good question. It's something that I didn't really, a balance I couldn't really make until recently, I would probably say, and it's 4 years in, it's a little late, but I was able to get through these last 3.5 years. But I think the thing that worked out the best for me is just making sure that I don't let the work overtake me and understand that I'm in authority of whatever situation I put myself in, but also making sure I don't make too many commitments to handle. So the balance I would take is just scheduling. I would make sure I stick to my schedule, whatever I write out, make sure I stay tight to that. And also just take time to myself, relax, work out, play basketball, have fun, just do whatever I can outside of those things so I don't feel like I'm confined by homework and assignments musically.
Yeah, like you don't have to do music, it's just like something that you choose
Exactly,
to do.
yeah.
Awesome. So what kind of started your performing career with your music? Was there like a family member that played music or?
Not at all, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I'm the only musician in my whole family. My dad grew up playing basketball. He's he's the gas man for a company back at home in Charlotte, North Carolina. My mom runs a healthcare business, a medical practice. And my sister just graduated from Syracuse University in communications last year. And so I'm the only musician in my whole family, even extended family. But it's just been something that my parents noticed I had an interest in my entire life, a gift that they nurtured, and they definitely did the best that they could to put me around people who would teach me how to steward this gift. And that's pretty much all. Just my parents did a good job of keeping me on that straight path and keeping me around people that would motivate me and encourage me to continue on with this.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know that the arts are kind of, they're not seen as important as like sports and academics. How do you feel about that, and how do you think that that will affect like your future career?
Yeah, I would say, let me see. One interesting thing it makes me think of, I had a friend of mine. I'm gonna say his name too. His name is Kelvin.
Give him a little shout out.
Kelvin, what's up, Kelvin? Hopefully you see this sometime soon. But my friend Kelvin, he used to get pretty angry because there were a lot of performances that it was mandatory for certain athletes to attend them if they took certain classes, of course. It's not just football players or baseball players. You have to go to the show, But if they were in a certain class and they had to go to certain performances, but they would always leave early and they would always do us. And so he had this whole thing about not wanting to go to any football games because it's not mandatory for him and he's a music major. But anyways, I don't know if I'm answering the question correctly, but I know for me, just I try to stretch out and go to some football games, some basketball games, some baseball games. Have a good friend of mine on the basketball team now, Grant Williams.
Shout out.
Shout out from Charlotte, North Carolina. I grew up with he and his older brother. So yeah.
Awesome. How did growing up in North Carolina kind of shape your music roots? Because I know, like, I'm from Nashville, so I am surrounded by country music. Music City. Everyone that I know that lives in and around Nashville, their dad's like a songwriter or they sing. So did Charlotte, North Carolina kind of shape you musically in any way?
Absolutely. I know growing up, I was more, everything was more lesson oriented, so I was much more oriented towards meeting deadlines for lessons or for performances. But as I got older, I started to be a part of the jazz scene a little bit more, the gospel scene a little bit also, and started to go out and play more performances. And so the interesting thing was a lot of people I performed with actually graduated from my high school, Northwest School of the Arts. And so a lot of guys like Harvey Cummings, Tim Scott, Elazar Schaefer, just to give everybody some shout outs. I know everybody's looking for the shout outs. All those guys really shaped my development musically because they were the ones who I remember my junior year of high school started to take me out to different performances. I remember we played for a Bernie Sanders rally in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we played for a lot of other events. And so those people allowing me those opportunities to play at those sort of events definitely shaped a lot of my development musically. But it's not as big of a recording city as Nashville, but it's definitely been growing. It's not too far from Atlanta, not too far from even some other places in Virginia, like Richmond, which is kind of a little bit of a drive, but not too far. But there's still a lot of good music scenes out there too. So just being able to communicate with everybody in major cities nearby also has definitely given me a lot of direction musically.
Awesome. You said you went to a performing arts high school?
Yeah, I did.
So do you think that kind of changed your high school experience, like the typical like public high school as opposed to like the arts high school? How is that different for you, and do you regret it at all? Oh,
no regret at all. Wow. It was going to that high school, it was big. Northwest School of the Arts, right next to downtown Charlotte. It's not inside of downtown, but it's right on the outskirts. And going there, just the openness of the people, just how willing they were to communicate with one another and not hold anything back, how open everybody was. It was very inspiring to see that, and it definitely made me want to be the same way, just not wanting to hold anything secret or withhold anything from anybody. But that experience, it was extremely different from other schools, just seeing the culture of sports there, and even just other subcultures in the other schools that I would realize that weren't too prevalent at our school. But it had a big impact on my life. I really appreciated being there.
Did you have a football team? That's like the stereotypical question that everyone wonders of arts high schools.
Yeah, no athletics team.
No sports at all?
The closest we had to sports was dance, I would say.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but there were no sports. We actually found a yearbook in I want to say it was my freshman year math class, and my teacher's name was Mr. Dover. And then he pulled out a yearbook from our high school from like 1970 something, like 76 or 75, and they had a football team, a tennis team, a basketball team.
You're decked out with the sports.
Yeah, really, but they did away with it. I don't know how long ago. I want to say within like the last 25 years or so, but we don't have any. We didn't have any when I went there either.
That's still awesome. So I know you mentioned playing at the Red Piano Lounge a whole lot. Where can people see you perform live or hear your music online?
Yeah. Online, you can actually look up, I played drums on an album with an artist named Michael Dees. He's a jazz trombonist, and the name of that album is Father Figure. And there are a lot of other young musicians on there, some from Philadelphia, I think another guy from Deerfield, Florida, another girl from Detroit. So a lot of people from around the country that played on the album. And we recorded another album with that same artist, Michael Dees. He actually is pretty popular for writing music for Alicia Keys and a lot of other pop artists. Yeah, and I think he won a Grammy for Superwoman, I want to say. I think he wrote the music to that. Yeah, but we recorded another record in Manhattan. I want to say it was about 6 or 7 months ago. Don't know the name of it yet, but be on the lookout.
It'll be out there.
It'll be out there sometime soon. But as far as performances, I play, and of course those albums are also on iTunes and everything else. I think I want to say Amazon. But I play Red Piano Lounge every other Friday, 6 to 8 cocktail hours, just solo piano. And then I play every Wednesday at Red Piano Lounge also with the Marble City 5. I play drums with them.
That's so cool. Backtracking real quick to the albums that you've gotten to record with. So you get to travel with these? It sounds like you get to meet some pretty awesome people.
Yeah, it's been a phenomenal experience. He's definitely been an incredible mentor to me, and I really appreciate him for absolutely everything he's done for me. But I actually went to a summer camp, and I was called to go to the summer camp in Brevard, North Carolina. It's right next to Asheville. And he was looking for somebody just to play drums. It was a jazz trombone camp. So I ended up playing drums for the camp for about 2 weeks. And by the end of the 2-week span, he asked me to, he asked me like it was like I was possibly going to say no, but of course I was going to accept and agree. But he asked if I wanted to go to New York and record an album with him. And that probably propelled me the most. That was an incredible experience, an unforgettable experience. And we recorded that album, I want to say October 2015. And then he called me again about 6 months later to record piano on the next album he was going to record. And so we recorded that one, I want to say it was September this past year, 2016. And so that's the one that's going to be coming out sometime soon. And we went to, I think we did a jazz festival in East Lansing where I had the chance to play with a few other legendary musicians that I've definitely looked up to my entire life. We've had I think we have a few other performances scheduled for the future. But yeah, Michael Dees has had a tremendous impact on my life so far, and I really appreciate him for everything he's affording me to do musically.
That's an incredible experience. That's absolutely awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on to the show. It's been an honor talking to you. Be sure to go check out him performing live, as well as check out his other works on iTunes and everything. And thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.